none of which we are not, under any circumstances, ever doing a review of the Apple. We are not doing it.
We're still not doing the Apple, David.
And we're not coherent in any way, shape or form. Put that Apple down. We are not doing the Apple. We've been to New York City. We've been to the Big Apple with the... No. Just no.
Certain
Put it down.
pieces of fruit, polygrammics. Oh, there's an apple here, Luke. What's that doing there?
Oh god. No.
Okay, well, we either review one of those films next year for Christmas, or...
Perfectly fine with me, Christmas Carol is.
A few characters have had their charms referred to as...
Get rid of that as well, because that's not happening ever.
And I think, with that, to the pub. I'm gonna hit him now.
Although we might fall out if I continue to persist in saying we're going to do the Apple. We're not going to do the Apple.
I don't even think you can get that. I don't think you can get it on DVD or Blu-ray. Or I don't even think
That's not going to stop me from trying.
To some, a nightmare to others. But I will give you a message. A message of death.
Come on,
Make no attempt to capture them. They are to be exterminated.
Matron, take them away. BIM T-shirts. T-shirts. Ashley, use your imagination. This is 1994.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk About ... My name is the Big Daddy D, David Mabley, and these gold hot pants are really starting to chafe my arse.
And I am Luke Murphy, and I just want to apologise to everybody out there for what is about to happen. I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
And I'm Josh. I really have no idea what I've let myself in for. Is it too late to leave?
No.
Yes.
Can I leave? Or
No.
locked
The door is locked.
The door is locked.
This is happening.
The bunker is in lockdown.
It's happening, isn't it?
It is. The running gag has finally come to a head. In fact, we were actually meant to be reviewing this for our Christmas special,
Yes,
but
we were.
Our collective schedules got a bit mad over
Yes.
Christmas between
Certainly did.
Christmas parties and charity events and birthday parties.
Last minute Christmas shopping and various other bits and pieces. It just didn't happen. For that, we apologise.
So what happened instead is that instead of having the Apple for the Christmas special, we thought we'll review it in 2023, and it basically means that season 4 of We Need to Talk About ... is also extending to 2023 as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Because we're the gift that just likes to keep on giving. But we didn't
That's
want
a
to.
gift.
We didn't want to leave you high and dry, so that's why I did a short review of Die Hard as a sort of like mini Christmas special. And yes, it is definitely a Christmas movie. It is Die Hard.
It's really not, though, is it? Like, come on.
It is. What do you mean it isn't?
It's not. It's literally a film about somebody sneaking around a tower at night, trying to avoid Alan Rickman. If anything, it's just a Harry Potter spin-off.
Get out. Get out. Get out now. Get out.
I mean, the door's locked. We've gone over this. I want to leave.
Right, now I feel absolutely no guilt about you watching this.
Yes, we subjected you to this, didn't we? You see, the reason why we brought Josh in is because
Yes.
Josh is a huge fan of musicals, perhaps more so than myself and Luke. Also, Josh is considerably younger than us, so
Yes.
when we sort of look at the futuristic world that is 1994, basically, that Josh wasn't even born at that that time.
That's even before my time.
So Josh, I feel, has a unique take on this film. So let's move on to the film itself. The 1970s and 1980s were well known for their bizarre musicals. I mean, what do you expect during an era where cocaine was considered to be a food group? During this time, we had the likes of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Shock Treatment, The Little Shop of Horrors, The Wiz, and Xanadu gracing the silver screen. But all those movies looked perfectly normal by comparison when the Apple turned up.
Oh, we really are doing this, aren't we? Okay, so The Apple was directed by Canon Film Group co-owner and filmmaker Menahem Golan, who also directed Delta Force, Enter the Ninja, Over the Top. The title of that last film is actually a fitting way to describe this film, to be honest with you.
So the movie is released in 1980, but it's actually set in the far-flung future of 1994. Do you remember 1994, Luke?
I do remember 1994. I have vague recollections of 1994. I was only 15, 16?
50. Well, I'm a little bit younger than you. I was 14, so we'd have both definitely been in high school at that point.
I was doing my GCSEs.
The World Cup, of course, was held in America in
Awful
1994.
World Cup. Yes, Diana Ross and that penalty. She performed at the opening ceremony of the 1994 World Cup.
Of course,
and she did that penalty where apparently she was supposed to kick the ball. It was supposed to hit the goal, and the goal was supposed to break away and what have you. She wore shoes that were really not suitable, shall we say, for kicking a football. And when she kicked the football, she absolutely bananaed it. It went nowhere near the goal, and the goal just sort of crumbled anyway.
Sadly, also, sticking with sport in 1994, there was the sudden death of Ayrton Senna. Very tragic circumstances, and to be honest, that pretty much killed my love of Formula One as well. To be honest, the sport was never the same after him.
No, it wasn't.
In other news, the Channel Tunnel was first opened. Anything want to say about?
No, I don't think so.
Infamously, O.J. Simpson would be chased down Hollywood Boulevard over alleged murder.
He probably, maybe, definitely, but we're not entirely sure whether or not he did.
Yeah.
I think that's covered everything legally. I think that covers everything legally. Remember, if the gloves don't fit,
Yes.
you must acquit.
George Foreman became the oldest heavyweight boxing champion in history, and of course Sony released the Sony PlayStation in Japan.
Yes, they
So
did.
what a year 1994 was.
Yes, it was, for those of us that were there.
I mean, I was barely a glint in my father's eye at that point.
Why does he have to be so bloody young?
Youth is wasted on the young.
And apparently 1994 was also where this film was set.
Yeah, so according to this film, 1994 was also the year when disco made a comeback, and the fashion trend was wearing shiny silver outfits and a triangular sticker on our foreheads.
I suppose the shiny outfits might be slightly accurate. I mean, do you remember shell suits?
He doesn't. One day.
The opening sequence of the entire film looks like it was filmed in like 2004, and never mind 1994. I guess you could only imagine it's something like the ITV's typical audience being rounded up for the next series of kind of X Factor. Do you see what madness you've created?
Well, actually, it's not the high-trousered one that's running the show here, but the highly eccentric Ming the Merciless lookalike, Mr. Boogaloo, the big boss in charge of Boogaloo International Music, or BIM for short, which is the biggest record company in the world.
So big, in fact, that they have control over the world's governments and even the police force. Not only that, but 4 o'clock in the afternoon is recognised BIM Hour, and during this time, everyone is legally required to stop everything they're doing and just dance. No, just what? Stop it! Stop it! It's like
This burning building can wait. We've got to get our funk on.
yeah. Seriously, yeah.
This man needs life-saving surgery right now, but first, check out my moves!
And Mr. Boogaloo isn't shy of performing himself. At one point he sings that the entire world is like a casino royale, which is actually rather fitting considering that the actor who plays him also appeared in the original Casino Royale in 1967, which of course we covered way back in episode 2.
In which he had the honour of being blown up by Orson Welles in a phone booth.
Yes, it is.
What about me? What's going to happen to me?
He was also in a proper Bond film, From Russia with Love, where he played the chess master. So it just shows that the makers of Casino Royale 1967 were looking to get hold of anyone at all that had even a slightest, remotest connection to the Bond films. Were you in a Bond film? Yes, I was. Right, get in this one.
And obviously, as I just said, for more information on that one, please be sure to watch the episode that we did on it. Link here somewhere. Thank you.
Watch this one first.
Oh, naturally, of course.
Also, I don't know why, but the Canon Film Group clearly like using the word Boogaloo for some reason. You can thank Canon for creating that particular meme.
The various acts attract on their popularity through monitoring their heartbeats of the audience, but I guess back in 1994 the general public are too stupid to go ahead and just make a vote for who they liked the best.
Well, surely a smart record producer would just simply supply the audience with boatloads of Red Bull and Haribo before their acts went on stage.
Yeah, don't be giving Simon Cowell any ideas, please.
I mean, we're probably just a few years away from Britain's got heart palpitations.
Boss, we have just scored 150 heartbeats!
Mr. Boogaloo plans to make his latest signing, Pandy and Dandy, the biggest stars in the world, but the audience prefers another act, the acoustic duo of Alfie and Bibi, who are so annoyingly clean-cut that they make the Osmonds look like the Osbournes. In fact, some members of the audience are so moved by the performance that they start to cry.
What's the matter with you?
It's so beautiful.
Mr. Boogaloo is not pleased at the sudden turn of events and instructs one of his minions, Shake, who looks like he time-travelled here from The Fifth Element. Hello, Rodney. What was his name?
Ruby Rod.
Ruby Rod, that's
yes.
it. He would fit in quite well in this universe.
Have you never seen The Fifth Element either?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he gets Shake, i.e. Ruby Rod, to play a red tape that causes an annoying warbling of the loudspeakers, and the crowd boos the Canadian couple off the stage.
Right, I've got a problem with this entire bit of red tape thing.
Only this.
Yeah.
Well, only this section of the film.
Well, okay. We'll deal with problems in order, shall we? So, Shake hands this to a technician and orders him to play it. The tech asks him, "What if somebody sees me?" And Shake responds with, "Then you're dead." I mean, that seems it escalated rather quickly. Not even, a disciplinary hearing, formal written warning. Never mind that. You're dead.
We can assume in this world that when you're fired from a job, it literally involves a firing squad.
Why on earth did the audience boo at Alfie and Bibi when the unpleasant warbling, whatever you want to call it, was obviously not part of their act? It's clearly some kind of sabotage. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure that one out.
To be fair, Josh, and you make a good point, I actually think you're putting more thought into the apple than what the filmmakers did.
Mr. Boogaloo is good enough to invite Alfie and Bibi to his celebration party afterwards, where he demonstrates BIM's latest fashion accessory, the BIM Mark. This is a sticker of the BIM company logo that everyone is now required to wear, whether they work for the company or not.
Our marketing genius, Ashley, has invented a beautiful BIM Mark. We are all going to wear it from now on, and I shall be the first one.
The BIM logo is a triangle, like the mark of the beast. Suspicious. Or possibly a Triforce, which now makes me wonder if Mr. Boogaloo is actually Ganondorf from The Legend of Zelda.
During the party, Dandy shows what a creepy little bastard he is by taking Bibi on a tour of the building and attempting to put something in a drink.
Here, try one of these.
What are they?
Just little pills. They won't harm you.
What the actual hell? And Bibi actually takes one, because that's normal behaviour when you're at a party and a creepy stranger that you've just met takes you into a darkened corner of the room and starts singing "You're Made for Me."
You're made for me, created for me.
crying out loud, Bibi! Why haven't at least thrown your drinker in?
Boogaloo offers to sign Alfie and Bibi to a contract, but Alfie isn't keen on the idea. I really can't say I blame him, considering that Boogaloo's biggest act has just attempted to roofie his girlfriend. It's really fucking questionable, this movie.
Yeah.
The amount of times during this film that people are, shall we say, drugged? It's rather astonishing.
Yeah.
Nay, really, 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 really creepy.
After making a grand entrance with a full song and dance number, Mr. Boogaloo presents Alfie and Bibi with contracts to sign. Alfie considers signing the contract, but every time he goes to do so, he has strange visions of an earthquake or a thunderstorm, which no one else seems to see.
And if this isn't enough to get the old alarm bells ringing, he then imagines the contract signing taking place in what can only be described as a hellish version of the Garden of Eden, with Boogaloo sporting a pair of devil horns and Dandy in a pair of shiny gold hot pants attempting to entice Bibi to take a bite of his apple. And meet, yes, an actual vampire.
No, an actual
vampire.
It's a natural desire. Meet an actual vampire.
Oh boy.
Take a little dance, get into a trance, check out my shiny gold hot pants.
Oh my god.
4 beers and a rhyming dictionary. Apparently that's all you need to write a musical, folks. Also, going back to Dandy's previous song where he was with Bibi, what a work of genius was it have man rhyming with woman. Or woman, as it's
Whoa, man.
I bet Andrew Lloyd Webber is kicking himself for not figuring that out.
I really think he's not.
Yeah.
Alfie awakes from his vision and vows never to sign, but Bibi happily signs away and is quickly assimilated into the BIM collective through the use of a musical montage. Resistance is indeed futile.
And it's a musical montage where Mr. Boogaloo sings about being a master. He actually does look a bit like the master from Doctor Who, doesn't he? But then the song starts to become uncomfortably, unintentionally racist. Oh dear.
Slaves are guaranteed. When you know how to be a master, he knows how to be a master.
Bibi then goes straight away on a world tour, which is a bit quick considering that she hasn't even had time to record an album yet.
You see, Boog is already selling your first album.
But we haven't even made one yet.
First you sell it, then you make it. That's marketing.
Yeah, well, to be fair, after watching that documentary, Electric Boogaloo, that is kind of how Canon Films did their movies. I mean, just saying.
They'd go to like film festivals, weren't they, with like 6 different films that they were promoting.
Yeah.
They didn't actually
They didn't actually have anything.
No, they didn't. I never filmed a single reel. It's like, oh yes, we're making this film. Who wants to buy it?
At the time, they didn't even actually have a script. They had a title. Yeah. They made a poster. They sold their movies based on the title and the poster when they actually had nothing else. Nothing. They rocked up the Cannes Film Festivals to try and get all of the funding and what have you. And all they had was a really, really an interesting title, an interesting poster, and nothing else. I mean,
first you sell it, then you make it.
Exactly.
I feel like this film's a bit of an autobiography for the Canon Film Group.
I was going to say, talk about mis-selling.
Well,
you definitely want your money back.
Well, I mean, watch the Canon documentary.
Electric Boogaloo, the story of Canon films.
Yeah, don't watch the right. Watch the independent one. Don't watch the one that Canon did when they got wind of this one. Yeah, that's the one that they did in-house. Yeah, do you not know about this? They had the Electric Boogaloo, the crazy story of Canon Films and stuff like that. And then Canon Films, the Golans, got wind of the fact that somebody was making a documentary about their film company, and then they made one and got it out around about 2 or 3 weeks before that one. It's
And they did rewrite a bit of their own history to make themselves look better.
What, rewrite a bit?
Yes.
What we define as a bit.
The entirety of their history.
Oh, so just a bit then?
Yeah, just a bit.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Alfie goes back to living in his messy apartment. Despite this film taking place in the year 1994, he doesn't have a single Wayne's World poster on his bedroom wall. What the hell, Alfie? Get it together, will you?
Wayne's World.
Party on, Luke!
Party on, Dave.
No clue.
Alfie can't necessarily pay for his apartment and only has a bed to sleep in because of his very, very kind landlady. She doesn't have a name, she is literally credited as the Landlady on IMDb. But she is played by the marvellous and wonderful Menahem Golan and is probably the best character in the entire film.
Younger viewers will recognise her as Professor Sprout from the Harry Potter films, and are probably horrified when Alfie grabs her boobs at one point. I guess that's how he's paying the rent then.
Stop it right now.
No. Cheers for ruining Harry Potter films for me.
I'm just getting you back for what you said about Die Hard earlier.
Moving swiftly on. Alfie is still making and selling songs, but no one wants to buy them, mainly because this is the year 1994. And as you all know, disco made a huge comeback in that year.
Which would explain why Mariah Carey, the Cranberries and Bon Jovi did so well in the charts that year.
Bibi performed her first song for BIM, a patriotic little number about taking speed, because America loves drugs. If this were a satire, then it would actually work a lot more, but the problem is that it is deadly, deadly serious.
Is shooting up with pure energy, and every day she has to take more speed. America, the home of the brave, is popping pills to keep up the pace, and every day she cries out for more speed.
And I guess one of the other things is, because we had a Spanish dubbed version,
yes,
you had the subtitles on, which I didn't know you could turn off, by the way. It was quite funny.
What is it that you do for a living, Joff? You're rather technical, aren't you?
No.
Yeah.
DVDs are a bit. Yeah. Anyway,
it's ancient technology.
It's ancient technology.
But it was quite funny because in the subtitles, when she's screaming "speed," it's just comes out as the Spanish version, which closest probably was just amphetamines.
Yes.
So in essence, the thing went from speed, which is it works on slightly works on multiple levels.
Yeah, there's subtext
to screaming about amphetamines.
Yes.
Lost a little bit in the translation, I think.
Although, to be honest with you, he may have actually found the ideal way of actually watching the Apple by watching the Apple, listening to listening to the English soundtrack and what have you, but having a foreign language subtitles playing at the same time.
Well, to be honest, I think you missed a trick there, because the best way of playing the Apple is to play it with the sound turned down, and then for you to basically dub your own story over the top, which probably would make more sense than when we got in this.
I was going to say the best way to play the Apple is to not play the Apple.
Play the Apple, but then switch the TV off and leave the room.
Yeah, probably. Meanwhile, it's now the law to wear that stupid BIM sticker on your forehead or on your face somewhere, otherwise apparently you get fined.
Sorry, I'm going to have to give you a ticket.
Why?
Because you're not wearing the BIM Mark. You know it's obligatory now. Just go along to your local post office, you buy some, and you'll wear one from now on.
Where do I wear it?
You wear it any way you want.
BIM cheated at this World Vision song contest, not Eurovision, World Vision,
yeah.
And apparently now they get to take over and control the world.
And so just rule the world. What prize?
which kind of makes you wonder just what would have happened if actually that had been the rule for the Eurovision Song Contest. Could you imagine, not only do you win the Eurovision Song Contest, but for the next 12 months you run the whole of Europe. Could you just imagine all those winners in past Eurovision history if they ruled the whole of Europe? Not the world, because obviously it's the Eurovision Song Contest. But if they run the whole of Europe for a whole year, Europe controlled by ABBA.
Actually does sound quite nice, actually.
Yeah, Europe controlled by, I don't know, Sandy Shaw. Europe controlled by, God forgive us, Bucks Fizz. Or even better still, Europe. What was the Icelandic death metal band that did Hard Rock Hallelujah that few years? I can't remember what the name was. They were dressed up in. So, can you just imagine them doing it? That would be great.
Yeah, having them sat in Parliament, all still dressed up like that.
Yeah, just because Lordy. That's it, Lordy. Yeah, Europe controlled by Lordy, because it would be absolutely fabulous. There'd be a massive, great big throne of some description with Mr. Lordy sat on it, just going like this, probably with an axe or something like that. Bring the next one to me.
I don't know whether that'd be an argument for or against Brexit, if I'm honest.
So, Bibi's face is literally plastered everywhere, and she is now the biggest star on the planet. But despite her success, Bibi is not happy and realises that she is trapped in the destructive world of sex and drugs. She starts to pine for her old flame and sings a song to herself about Alfie.
And Alfie actually manages to join in with the song, even though he's in a completely different location and he's just had the shite kicked out of him by Mr. Boogaloo's security guards. How is he able to sing along with Bibi despite them being in two separate places?
Because hey, it's a musical.
So, despite getting beaten up earlier, Alfie is actually able to walk in through the front door of the BIM office and ask Boogaloo to release Bibi from her contract. Boogaloo seems to be considering Alfie's request, but that turns out to be a distraction so that Pandy can drug Alfie and drag him away to have her wicked way with him.
Why on earth is there so much roofing going on in this movie? Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And how
is this genuinely what it was like back then?
No, well,
were you all just getting roofied? And,
right, hang on,
I know we say it's a problem at the moment, but
right, can I just say when this film came out in 1980, I was merely but a bairn, and yeah, no.
I think it serves as a plot point, doesn't it? It says, what can we do to get the plot moving along? Oh, I know. We'll just
drug people.
We'll just drug people. And Alfie knows that this is something that happens a lot in the BIM building. Literally, the first time that him and Bibi was there, Dandy was trying to drug Bibi, so he knows it's something that goes on. Yet he still drinks this suspicious substance that Pandy gives him. And clearly he can tell that this is drugging him, and not just a little bit, drugging him straight away. So what does he do? Does he throw it away? Does he say, I'm not drinking any more of that? Does he put the glass down, refuses to touch anymore? No, the daft bugger just starts chugging it down.
Well, as I said earlier, everybody just drinks it or takes the pills. They don't actually throw anything away or have any common sense, but...
Well, I've started it now. It'd be a shame to let it go to waste.
Well, yeah.
Glug, 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 glug.
Right, let's just take a small pause here. Should mention at this point, this movie's rated as a PG.
Not on that one.
Not on that one,
I was
because
going to
it's
say
Spanish.
the Spanish clearly don't care.
No. but this was when this originally sort of came out. It was classified by the BBFC as a PG. Yeah, this is what PG films used to look like. Can you imagine sitting down with your wife, your children, if you will, and enjoying this over Christmas? Mummy, why is that lady drugging that man? Yeah, I think we'll just knock it over now.
I mean, somebody says, like, bugger on a film and it's a 12 these days.
Actually, the BBFC rules on the 12 is, I think you're allowed 2 shits and a fuck.
And in that, in Carrying Up the Khyber, when they went fakir off, there was just a large enough gap between fakir and off for them to get away with it.
I will now remove the second stool.
Bring on the dancing girls. Get rid of this idiot. Fuck you. Off.
In the same way, in the same way as in Carry On, Don't Lose Your Head.
Well, don't just stand there, man. Get it out. Get it out.
We had the wonderful line, "My brother, the Count."
I insist we have a little talk first.
Oh, very well then. What about?
I believe you know who the black fingernail is.
Yes. Well, I enjoyed that little chat. Now then.
I haven't finished yet. Besides, my brother, the Count, wishes to meet him.
I'm afraid that is impossible.
I said count.
She did say count.
It's called a loophole.
Really being subtle there, aren't you?
And just in case the audience didn't get that subtlety, We then get a highly synchronised sex session going on in the background. Again, PG, which is probably one of the least arousing things you will ever witness. To be honest, we've all listened to Mr. Rocky Flintstone, and I'm more turned on by that.
I've had bigger stiffies watching Playbus.
Alfie manages to get away only to find Bibi in bed with Dandy. Was this an hallucination on Alfie's part, or was there just more roofing going on? We don't know.
We don't really know.
It's probably more of the latter, let's face it.
I think at this point we don't know, and we really don't care. Alfie runs away and passes out, and when he wakes up he's taken in by a hippie community because, you know, grunge wasn't a thing in the 90s. Kurt who?
Who are you people? These are refugees from the 60s, commonly known as hippies.
It seems that having those multiple orgasms has made Pandy realise the error of her ways, and she decides to help Bibi escape from her destructive lifestyle. Bibi finds her way back into Alfie's arms, and she's also taken in by the hippie community, where they live in a cave. As you do.
Bibi has spent most of the movie engaging in all sorts of debauchery, allowing herself to be easily influenced by some of the other characters and not really showing much in the way of personality at all. But now, at this stage in the film, she's realised that her place is at home, in the cave, raising children. Don't really like what it says about women and wives at this point.
Women's place in society in 1994.
Yeah, I don't know.
And can we just take a moment here to ask, where are all the hippies getting their food from? No one seems to be growing crops or anything like that. Are they scavenging discarded lettuce from the rubbish bins outside McDonald's? Are they digging underground tunnels into supermarkets?
And yet they are living by a river. But teach a man to fish, and then only give him fish to eat for a couple of years, that man is going to be getting rather grumpy after a while. I bet he's not going to be sitting around singing Kumbaya in praise of his life when he's just been eating nothing but sticklebacks and limp lettuce for the last 6 months.
And I guess one other thing is that it's never explored whose kid actually is that. It's Bibi's for sure, but are we sure that Alfie's the father? There was a lot of roofing going on and all sorts of other stuff. It could be Dandy's for all we know. The kid should be only about a year old by that point, so where's the large toddler coming from?
Again, you're using logic. The BIM Corporation eventually come looking for them, where Mr. Boogaloo claims that Bibi owes him $10 million. Surely he would have already moved on to another fresher act. I mean, why would he care? Clearly she was a one-hit wonder, having only done one song. And what was that about again?
Amphetamine!
Boogaloo demands to his private police force that all the hippies are arrested, including Alfie and Bibi. All seems lost for our heroes, but then Alfie tells Bibi not to worry, because Mr. Tops is coming.
It's gonna be alright. I know he's gonna come.
Who's coming?
Mr. Tops.
Who's Mr. Tops?
Don't worry, just trust me.
That's a good question. Who is Mr. Tops? This character's never been mentioned up until this point, and then literally half a minute later he's making a grand entrance.
Who the hell are you? They call me Mr. Tops.
Mr. Tops turns out to be God himself, who comes down to Earth in a golden Mercedes and takes Alfie, Bibi, their baby, and all the hippies to another planet that will be free from Mr. Boogaloo, who it turns out was the devil all along, and his influences are forced exercise and facial stickers. So, hurrah, I guess?
So, is this the rapture then?
And it looks like everyone, apart from Boogaloo, Dandy and the BIM police force, gets to go to heaven, including Pandy, who earlier on in the film had drugged Alfie and sexually assaulted him. So all is forgiven just because she helped Bibi through a door. Literally just walking through a door, something that looks like Bibi could have done by herself a very, very long time ago.
But that's it, Bibi is so stupid she doesn't seem to understand how a door works. Meanwhile, Pandy, who basically has done a full-on Bill Cosby to
allegedly done a full-on Bill Cosby.
She gets to go to heaven.
Indeed.
Yeah. Did this actually happen, or were all the hippies just getting in a drug haze and they just basically drank a load of the poisoned Kool-Aid?
I mean,
is this all
probably more likely, let's face it.
Does Mr. Boogaloo and the BIM police force just turn up and the whole park's just full of dead hippies, you know?
Again, I think we're thinking about this far too much and employing far too much logic.
And what about Alfie's nice landlady? Is she going to another planet too? Or is she stuck here with all the rest of the dancing BIM worshippers? I have so many questions.
So, let us just take a step back here. The Almighty himself has finally decided to take overt action against his wayward son over 2 folk singers from Canada. Listen here, Satan, the Black Plague was bad, as was slavery, genocide, Nazi death camps. But pop music and arresting the last of the hippies? Well, now you've just gone too far.
I mean, the creative association that went into this, writing this ending is... It's a little bit frightening, if I'm honest.
Not surprisingly, when Golan was writing the script for this, he had to write the script in 3 weeks. In the space of 3 weeks, he churned out 6 different drafts.
I was going to say, did he spend about an hour of those 3 weeks writing this?
I was just going to say, when you do 6 completely different drafts in the space of 3 weeks, that's the cocaine talking, folks.
Yeah.
And that is literally where the film ends. Seriously. So I guess at this point we have to ask the age-old question on this show, what the hell have we watched here? Literally, what the hell have we watched here?
I don't know.
I'm looking for a new place.
A new planet?
If I can find one free from your pollution.
It is your fault.
This is your fault.
It is.
This is entirely your fault.
Although you kind of got the ball running when you first mentioned the Apple during our Lifeforce review.
Oh, so it's your fault then.
So it's my fault?
Yeah. So you kind of planted the Apple seed from which this running gag has now grown. At its core, pun intended, this is your fault.
Seriously. Everybody hates a bad pun. So out of everything we've watched so far on the show, this one is perhaps the most appropriate use of what the hell. You see, originally this was supposed to be some sort of elaborate Hebrew stage show about Adam and Eve and the ongoing battle between God and the devil. Fair enough. And then Canon decided to rework it into an English language musical. And when I say rework, I mean it was completely rewritten. Turned batshit insane and put into the hands of the same guy that directed Enter the Ninja, Delta Force and Over the Top.
So yes, it is an extremely ambitious film. It is a Canon film after all. And the idea of an evil music company is a trope that would work even today. But the production was troubled from the start, with arguments and near fistfights going on behind the scenes. Golan actually fired his original film editor because of the arguments they had. They basically filmed over 4 hours of footage and he had to sort of try and cut it down into what this was. And put it this way, their artistic visions did not go well.
Yes.
I was going to say, if what we got was the best bits, I do not want to see the rest.
Thank God there isn't a director's cut.
Well,
no, let's not even go there.
No.
Funny you should mention that.
No. The plot makes no sense whatsoever. The acting is terrible. All sense of subtlety is thrown out of the window, and the songs are, and let's be honest, bloody dreadful. But at least the dancing, the choreography and the lighting are all really rather good and probably the best part of the entire film.
And funnily enough, the person in charge of all that, Nigel Lithgow, went on to do the same in such TV shows such as American Idol and So You Think You Can Dance. Now that is really evil.
The film was originally going to be set in 1984 due to the Orwellian films, but Golan didn't like that. He went, too soon. We set it in 1994 instead, in the future. What I want to know is, okay, he tried to make it sound more futuristic. If this is set in 1994, why aren't the albums been recorded on Sony mini discs? That's what I want to know.
Sony what?
It was a very different time, Josh. This was before CDs.
CDs?
You're starting to fucking piss me off now.
And with that, the longest running joke in We Need to Talk About History in our 5 or 6 years of doing this is now well and truly paid off. We have watched the Apple. Holy shit.
Now you dragged me into it.
Yes, because quite frankly, if I must suffer, then we all must suffer.
I just need to get you to watch another Godfrey Ho film.
Yeah, that's not bloody happening. It is often said that there is a thin line between genius and insanity. And quite frankly, when Talking about Menahem Golan, here is a man that has basically crossed that line from genius into insanity and has just kept on going, and the line is around about 20 miles back at him and he's still going towards the sunset. This is insane.
He was clearly a man who loved Hollywood and loved making films.
He loved himself.
But he loved
There is that.
Yes. But you know, loving something does not necessarily mean that you're any good at it.
I think he's the classic example of where enthusiasm and ambition outweighs talent, quite frankly.
This is supposed to be a musical, right?
Okay, yeah. You are the musical expert.
I was going to say, I'm not.
Yeah.
I consider myself a bit of a connoisseur compared
Yeah.
to you two. What on earth? They're like musical sequences. They just go on for far too long. Like you're thinking, right? They're still singing, still singing.
You've made your point. Wrap it up. You know.
Yeah.
Like there's no need. Like in a musical, it's supposed to make a point, make it well, and then stop. Not go there and thereabouts a point and confuse the hell out of everybody and then carry on for about 3 years until everyone's asleep.
When they did the BIM Hour, I was actually scared at one point. I thought, is this actually going to go on for an hour?
Yeah.
It does feel like this is going to go on for another hour.
It was just complete. It was borderline like North Korean cult in reality. I mean, you had people like doing open heart surgery, and then all of a sudden, like, we're going to go for a little bit of a boogie. And at one point, even the guy on the table rose up and started having a boogie before then, realising he's knocked out and laid back down again.
I'm probably dying on the operating table.
What on earth?
People have died during the BIM Hour.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say. People have died in burning buildings or on operating tables.
I know we talk about like the current government and things like that, how their policies can kill people, but Jesus Christ, that one is ridiculous.
I mean, we've looked at it. I mean, it's just an interesting thing. You know, here's an idea of a dystopian future, and we've covered dystopian futures in some of the films that we've looked at over the years and what have you. You know, we looked at Dreads, we looked at Zardos, we looked at the Warriors. This one, oh boy, life is bad in Mega City 1, but at least you didn't have the choice to either, you know, live in a cave with some hippies or forced mandatory dancing for an hour every single day. And either way, you'll be having, you know, lots of drug-induced, which is massively still problematic, and massively drug-induced sex. Oh, hang on.
I mean, there was even a director's cut of this, where the songs that we've already mentioned, that were far too long anyway, they were even longer. Like, what else is there to say? Like, you know, it was only shown in, I think I read that it was only shown in theatres a few times, and it was never actually on DVD anyway. So, I mean, we can be grateful there. Small mercies.
Hashtag release the Apple Director's Cut.
No.
Hashtag don't.
No.
So then we come on to Mr. Tops, who is never mentioned at any point during the film until literally half a minute or so before he turns up.
Yes.
It's quite a crucial point to the story. So you'd think he'd be mentioned at least once, even if it's just a passing comment. But no.
Especially it turns out that Boogaloo is the devil.
Well, yeah.
So it's like, right, have some setup to explain Boogaloo is the devil and this is Mr. Tops. And, you know, Mr. Tops hasn't been seen in many, many years kind of thing. And then he sort of shows up, you know, have passing reference to Mr. Tops. But no, none of that. And why does Alfie know that Mr. Tops is coming? What does he know that everybody else doesn't?
He must have got some sort of interesting divine, you know, live with the hippies, and he realises that Mr. Tops is coming. Mr. Tops, who is played by the wonderful British actor Joss Ackland, otherwise known as, was the main bad guy in Lethal Weapon 2, wasn't he?
Diplomatic community.
It's just been revoked.
And throughout the film, I mean, Alfie and Bibi, they're not even likeable leads. Like, Bibi's just complete. I mean, there's a difference between being a bit naive and then being completely stupid.
Yes,
and Bibi is just basically takes a pill that a random person gives her, allows herself to, you know, spiral into this world. Doesn't even figure out how a door works.
It could be, and I'm only throwing this idea out there. It could be that the screenwriter's telling us something about his own
his own opinions on women.
On women. I'm only putting that out there.
potentially. I mean, there's
Allegedly.
nothing there.
No.
Like,
there is nothing
going on upstairs.
No, there isn't.
And Alfie's not
At
much
all.
better. He's not the hero in this film. I mean, he goes to the BIM Corporation to rescue Bibi and ends up sleeping with another woman.
Yes. Bit of a no-no.
He quite happily knocks back this drink that is clearly drugging him.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't get any sort of hero's redemption or anything like that.
They've certainly not done anything within the course of the film to earn what we will laughingly call their reward at the end of the film by flying off with Mr. Tops in his flying car to wherever.
To another planet.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I don't see how that's a defeat for the villains. All that's happened is that Alfie and Bibi, along with a bunch of hippies, have left the planet.
Yeah.
That's not going to affect BIM in any way.
No.
BIM are still the supreme power in charge of everything in the world, or presumably for the next 12 months or so, and will presumably continue to run everything even after Mr. Tops has left. So how is this a defeat for the baddies?
It's not. But again, we're thinking about this film way too much.
I guess let's just take a step back to the whole point of this is a musical.
Allegedly.
But I guess you could bring some kind of similarities to some of the other ones, kind of like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, you know. Innocent, wholesome couple finding themselves being dragged into a world of darkness and debauchery. Some colourful characters along the way that either help or hinder their escape, and in the end, good triumphs upon evil. But there's a good reason why Rocky Horror still tours to this day and has a massive cult following, and The Apple just features a cult and does not tour.
So during the premiere of the film, people were given a copy of the film's soundtrack on vinyl, and about halfway through the film the audience were so pissed off at the film that they threw their records at the screen, damaging the actual screen itself. Golan went back to his hotel room and then apparently tried to kill himself by jumping off his balcony, and he would have succeeded had his business partner not stopped him. Golan was dismayed at the film's poor reception, saying at one point, "I can't be wrong about this movie, people just don't understand what we are trying to do." He seriously thought this was his chance to become a hugely successful director-producer in Hollywood.
And then after this, he still went on to do things like Over the Top.
And Masters of the Universe, and Ninja Films, and The Lombarda.
The thing is, I mean, it was a big thing for them when they got Sylvester Stallone. The only reason why Stallone agreed to do Over the Top was because he would just constantly pester him and bombard him with offers to do Over the Top. And each time he was offering more and more money, to which Stallone eventually went, all right, fine, I'll do it. It's not as if anyone's actually going to see this film. And he was right.
They didn't.
So critics and audiences universally panned the film alike. And in some circles, it's been referred to as one of the worst films ever made. It currently has a score of only 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, officially making this one of the worst rated films we've covered here. Although it's still a highly rated film than the 23% that Santa with Muscles got. Having said that, I know that we didn't do a full review of the 1995 Judge Dredd film, but that actually is officially the worst film we've looked at on this show with 22%. So Luke, out of Judge Dredd 1995, Santa with Muscles and The Apple, which of those films would you rather watch again?
Santa with Muscles.
Brother!
Santa with Muscles. Very definitely.
However, unlike Santa with Muscles, this film isn't on YouTube.
Thank God.
On any video streaming service.
Brilliant.
It's not.
The soundtrack is even missing. The soundtrack does not exist on any music streaming service either.
It's like they've tried to make sure that people forget about this. You can't.
So why the hell have we just done the video about it then?
It's not on any streaming service. No one's bothered to upload it to YouTube. It's not even on archive.org, which tends to be where a lot of old films get uploaded to. It's quite difficult to find on DVD, and even this one is the Spanish version. And we had to use the option in the menus to change the language settings back to English, so that was lucky for us, wasn't it?
I mean, not gonna lie, it took me about 5 minutes to realise that and figure it out. I did wonder why I couldn't understand a word of what they were saying.
But funnily enough, this actually wasn't considered to be the worst film of 1980. It didn't even get nominated for a Razzie Award. Popeye took that honour.
Which, to be fair, is awful.
Yeah.
That is awful.
But no, this seems to be the film that Time forgot about, and there's probably a good reason for that.
Yeah, just going to just say, right, anybody that's out there that watches this that got anything to do with sort of film distribution or anything like that, this isn't a call for you to go, I tell you what, let's get the rights to do this, we'll do a restoration of it and then we'll release it. No, just no, don't, we don't want you to.
Hashtag release the Apple Director's Cut.
I feel like as youth I'm like inflicting my opportunity to cancel you.
I think that is brilliant, Dave. We are going to make 2023 the year that we get cancelled. By the end of this year, we will cancel ourselves.
Yes, we'll do a full Matt Lucas and David Walliams, and
yeah, we're going to get ourselves cancelled.
We'll be gone.
Christ. Right, wonderful. Well, I think we've finally done that. I feel as though we need to do something now with it.
Burn it?
Oh yes.
You're not burning my DVD copy of the Apple. I need to save that to warn future generations.
Quickly, Joshua, to Summer Isle. For our most dreadful and final sacrifice. Summer is a-coming in, now we sing cuckoo.
Right. Pub.
Thank God. Although I think we're going to need something stronger than beer.
Something stronger than beer?
Yeah.
Whiskey!
Like a puppet on the string, like a monkey on a swing. Man is clinging to the ropes of the fantasies and hopes we are dangling.
Boogaloo!
Oh, hello there. Right.
Hello.
So because we've put Luke through the trauma,
You put Luke through the trauma.
well,
Hello.
we kind of dragged you along as well.
Yeah.
But we
Kicking and screaming.
But we thought we'd let Luke choose the post-recording session venue, and we're here. Where are we today?
We are at the Horsforth Brewery tap in funnily enough, Horsforth.
Yeah.
So
I'm drinking a pint of Arrow to the Knee, so I'm
Yeah.
guessing someone that works at the brewery is a Skyrim fan.
This is the Hair of Ernie. I don't even want to guess why it's called that.
Is it Ernie, as in Burton Ernie from Sesame Street? Or Ernie
I would assume so.
I would think it would be.
And I don't really know. It's La something.
La Calavera.
That one.
La Calavera.
So
So yes, it's all very good. So yes, so that is finally we have reviewed the Apple and watched and digested and questioned the Apple.
And how do you
heavy on the
feel?
question.
How do you feel now that you've done that? Do you
Spent and sore.
do you feel that you finally sort of exercised that demon, or at least that running gag?
Definitely exercise the running gag. The demon is very, very much with me still. But I will say I'm pleased we've done it. I am pleased that we've actually finally reviewed it, because it is something to behold.
It really is.
It's like, if you ever thought that the maddest film that you've ever watched, I mean, times this by 1,000 and you're still not even close, really.
I think it's okay if you're going in knowing that it's a bad film, so you can sort of prepare yourself for it. If you watch it without any sort of knowledge or preparation, then yes, you will be taken quite by surprise, and you'll be wondering what on earth this is. Josh watched it only last night, but he had the full sort of knowledge of knowing that this was a bad film.
I knew it was horrible.
Yeah, you were about to watch a pile of crap, basically.
Yeah. It's kind of like being scared versus going into a horror house. You know you're going to be scared.
Yes. Yes.
Versus some psychopath coming out and scaring you. Yeah, very different things.
So,
I can't say anything more about it.
You
can't really say anything more about it. I hope that we, our review has basically meant that we
put you off.
Spare people.
Yeah, don't watch the film. Watch our review of it again.
Yeah,
that's probably going to be a safer bet for you, I think.
Yes, very, very definitely.
100%.
Yeah, don't bother tracking it down like I did.
Because you can't find it.
I was going to say you're probably going to struggle.
You can't find it.
It's really not worth the hassle, and as mentioned before, it does seem to be a piece of media that
It's confined to the dustbin of history.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I feel like it's the sort of thing that you'd end up studying in a university, doing like media or something.
Yeah.
This is how not to do it.
What went wrong here?
Yeah.
You know.
This is a kind of an example of what not to do. Yeah.
You know, when subtlety goes out the window, and it's like, no, we actually need to explain and show what I'm actually referring to here.
Well,
so,
when subtlety, narrative, taste, and a few of the bits and pieces go out of the window, this is what you're left with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and dodgy theology. Quite a lot, very, very dodgy theology.
There's a lot of like the sort of religious analogy all over it. I mean, it's kind of
really is that because I didn't see that.
It, you know, you've got God and the
They
devil.
tried.
You've got the Garden of Eden. You've got Adam and Eve and what have you. You know. But it's just not subtly done in the slightest. No. In the slightest.
No.
I don't think Golan knows subtlety. I don't think he understands subtlety.
Which kind of begs the question, which we have discussed this, is Menahem Golan
batshit?
Well, yeah,
Yes.
is he batshit? Or is he merely just a misunderstood genius like Ed Wood?
Or Godfrey Ho, perhaps.
No. Who? Godfrey Ho, the one who does the really, really awful ninja films.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You've never seen a Godfrey Ho ninja film?
Oh,
You've
right.
never seen the Godfrey Ho ninja
Right,
film?
well, I know what we're doing next then.
Well, no, you could do it. I've already lived it now. I can tap out on that one.
Allow me to tell you about a little film called Ninja the Protector.
Why didn't I just say yeah, sure? Why did I question it?
Yeah, because you are young and you do not know better.
I am naive.
Yes.
You will learn not to fall into these traps.
Yes. One day.
And on that bombshell, we're going to bid you
we're going
good
to bid
day.
you goodbye. As always, all of the linky. The linky things will be here.
Yes, and at the end of the video as well, there's the Twitter, there's the Facebook, and of course there's the old subscribe to this channel.
Yeah, please do.
Ring the little notification bell so that you're updated whenever there's a new video for you to watch. Like, share and subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yes.
And until next time, we will catch you, well, until next time, thank you very much for stopping by the channel, and we'll see you again very soon.
Cheers. And good evening.